You think Jesus can do anything right here in Las Vegas, Sin City? I believe that what God is doing is He's creating an eternal testimony. And what we know is when we can come together under a spirit of unity, nothing will be impossible. Hello and welcome to another episode of Las Vegas United. I'm your host, Aaron Pino. And right here at Las Vegas United, we are partnering with God to create an eternal testimony of His goodness, mercy, and power right here in the Las Vegas Valley. You know, the Bible tells us in Psalms 133 how good it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. If you jump down to Psalms 133, verse 3, it says, "For there is the commanded blessing of God." Now, I believe if you're listening to this right now, if you're watching this right now, and if you're in Las Vegas right now, you are blessed. We are living underneath an open heaven right here in Las Vegas United. And listen, can you do something for me before we get started on the show? Can you like this? Can you comment on this? Can you share this? If you're watching or listening on iTunes or Spotify, would you go ahead and subscribe to the podcast? That will just help us get the message of what God's doing in Las Vegas out. So without further ado, we have some amazing guests on today's show, and I want to introduce you. So we have Lonnie and we have Tim. So guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. I'm really excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today. So let's dive in. So tell us about what God is doing in and through you guys right here in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Great. Well, it's great to be here. Great to have this opportunity. We're actually with International Church of Las Vegas, and International Church of Las Vegas has always been committed to the families, specifically to the families. And we've been involved in men's groups that have been there. Well, they actually applied for and received federal funding. They applied for a grant that was called a Fatherhood Grant. It's actually really kind of cool. It's called the Fatherhood Fire Grant. I don't know. Read into that what you will. But
sure.
So they received this grant, and specifically the grant was to improve the lives of families, dads, children, families in Las Vegas. And so we were one of the 58 recipients of this grant that went out nationally. And Las Vegas, and specifically International Church of Las Vegas, was the only church to receive this grant.
Wow.
And so we've been part of this grant. We both came underneath, got hired to do this. Yeah. And but more importantly, we were committed to it before this was even there. The really cool thing is now we have some funding to actually improve the lives of dads in our community.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talk to me, and we'll get into the father element of it, because I think that's, the dads, and it's I forget the statistic. You guys probably know the statistic better, right? It's something like over 90% of families will come into the kingdom if the dad gets saved first. And anyway, there's those statistics. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like, tell us your story a little bit. Lonnie, I'll start with you, and then you can go, Tim.
Well, I am a Las Vegas native, born and raised in Vegas.
Come on, man.
I was fortunate to join the Air Force when I was 19 years old, did 22 years, retired, returned to Vegas in 2007. While I was gone, I was able to acquire a wife and 3 sons. My wife and I, we've been married now 32 years.
Awesome.
And,
come on, man.
We're just, we're thankful to be back in Vegas, my hometown.
Yeah.
Because we really saw that, we felt that this is where God was calling us back to. We thought we might have an opportunity to do ministry, but when we initially got here, all we did was we just said we need to go somewhere and sit down.
Yeah.
Just rest, because we had been going nonstop for those previous 20 years. And so we're just grateful that when we got here, we rested, but then we joined ICLV and we heard about the grant. She was like, "You going to be a part of it?" I said, "Absolutely. Absolutely."
That's awesome, man. Yeah. First of all, thank you for your service right off the bat. I appreciate you. 32 years of marriage. I want to talk 32. To you about that in just a moment. But go ahead, tell us about yourself, Tim.
Yeah. Well, my name's Tim Veit. I came to this community about 30 years ago. I actually came out here for work. I was started out in California, so I'm not a native like Lonnie.
Hey, that's
but
all right.
I feel like it. I've been here 30 years, and I've seen a lot of change in the community, and it's been a great community to be part of. I actually was got out of high school, went into the Marine Corps.
Awesome.
Got out of the Marine Corps. We just happened to, land in the same place.
Wow.
And it's great too, because we can be brothers, but we can be, fighting brothers
Yeah,
as we
come
do.
on, man.
Our
That's what I'm
firefighter
talking about.
background.
And we're both, that's true.
Ex-firefighters.
Ex-firefighters too. Awesome.
Yeah, so I came here for work. I actually worked for the Henderson Fire Department. I did 26 years with the Henderson Fire Department.
Awesome.
Great career, great community, and got a wife out of the deal too. So actually, I knew my wife when we were younger. We've been married 27 years, and we both continue to live here out in Henderson. We've been involved in a couple of different churches: Central Christian Church, Sin City Church, and then more recently over at International Church Las Vegas.
Yeah.
One thing I love about what you're doing is uniting the churches.
Yeah.
And my wife and I love that part of getting involved with the community and seeing different churches. So that's kind of been our life. We ended up at International Church Las Vegas, and I was doing some classes there. So they offer some really great classes to their lead program. And all of a sudden they received this federal grant. And when they did, there was some opportunity there. I'd already retired from the fire department and was waiting to see what the Lord had for me next, and I knew that he had led me in there. What I didn't realize is I was going to be able to work with some great people like Lonnie, and the work that we would be doing, how important it is.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. Thank you for your service as well. The military, I'm flat-footed, so I couldn't,
I didn't even know that was a requirement until I was going through the MEPS in processing, and they were disqualifying guys for it. I was like, oh, are my feet flat?
Yeah.
Oh, they had me questioning.
I knew. I just stood around my house and just started stomping around the whole house. I'm not made for war like that. You know what I mean? But seriously though, thank you both for your service and also what you guys are doing here in Las Vegas through the grant and the DAD program. So I want to hit this a little bit because I think it actually lends itself to what you guys are doing. So you guys have been married a long time, 27 years, 32 years. What's the secret for somebody young like me who's only been married, I think 14 years? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Go ahead. Lay it on me. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Well, my wife and I, we actually also do couples ministry. It's called For Better or For Worse. But what we found is that it really just comes down to each person determining. When we first got married, we said we would never use the D word after that first year because it was chaotic, to say the least. But we decided we just take the D word out of our vocabulary. The D word is divorce, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
And we determined that we'd be together no matter what. As a matter of fact, last night she told me, you could try to leave, but I would stalk you. So, because we were just discussing some things that we had heard about other couples who we had known years ago. And we were like, wow, that's amazing. And so we were like, how are we able to stay together? Because, like we said, if you go, I'm going.
Yeah.
So we just determined we were going to be together. It also helps that you like each other too.
Yeah, that's a plus.
Not just love, but like.
Yeah, you got to hang out with that person for a long time.
Yeah.
You better like it. What about you? Yeah. What's your key, man?
Well, I know what worked for me. I married a woman that could wait on me to get myself figured out.
You just scored major brownie points right there. I'm just letting you know right now.
She earned every one of them. She earned every one of them for sure. Yeah, I actually met my wife. The first I met her, she was giving a testimony. I wasn't a Jesus follower at the time, so I didn't even know what she was talking about really. But there was something that kind of sunk in me at that point, and yeah, we got married, and she stuck by me as I figured out what being a man really was. Yeah, and really growing into that, and so yeah. That would be the key. Marry one that's got some thick skin and can wait on you to get it figured out. Oh, yeah. Ashley, if you're listening to this, I found a good one. I'm just telling you right now. That's my wife's name.
There you go.
Yeah. So strong marriages is key, and that's something that you guys help men do through the program that you guys are part of. So talk to us a little bit about kind of the ins and outs of obviously you got a grant to help men. But it's just not like, oh, we have all this money. All right, come on. I mean, obviously there's process and structure in place. So what does that look like?
Okay, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
The first part of the program is we actually educate, we teach lessons over the 8-week course that we have them in. And the curriculum that we utilize is research, evidence-based research information that actually is so, when we first started looking at the curriculum, we were like, oh, this isn't any good. But then we really started digging in, and we found, my God, this is awesome curriculum. And so we dug deep, and we teach the curriculum. It's two sides of it. First side is about fathering, tools that you need to father, like what does discipline actually mean? And then the second part of the curriculum is about actual relationship, helping them be able to get along with mom. So if mom and dad get along, that actually is, not only is it biblical, but according to research, the child would do better. So those are the two aspects of it. And then there's a third prong that we teach, and that's money smarts. That's to help them with their finances.
Very good.
And then the other pieces are, Tim's going to talk about those pieces.
Well, Lonnie did a great job. It's actually really good education. But really what we're about, the overall program itself, is really about classes, providing education, equipping, coaching. So we coach dads in the program, and we also are trying to help them get jobs and careers. So those are like the three main components. That's what we're looking to do. But the bigger picture is, and you said it earlier, if we can get to dad, then dad will play the role that he needs to play with kids. We call ourselves Dad Incorporated or Dad Inc., right? Yeah. And in Dad Inc., we recognize that you have to be a fully incorporated dad. Unfortunately, and you mentioned it earlier, unfortunately, a lot of our dads have already gone through a divorce. And so, marriage is great. And if we can help people with their marriage is great. Yeah. But generally what we find is that we have to, the first thing, like Lonnie said, we're really working on parenting. And so we provide classes, coaching, and really just kind of a community that can help you work on parenting. Lonnie tells a great story. He was given a kid, and he gets this kid, and there's no owner's manual. Now you buy a TV, you got a TV back here, you buy that TV, the owner's manual's that thick, but he gets this kid and he says, I don't even know what to do. Oh yeah. And he says this story, I'm going to steal your thunder. He walks outside and holds it up like in Lion King, and holds his first son up like in Lion King. So you're really not even sure what to do. And you're tracking along. Maybe you do make good decisions. Maybe you don't. You're not really sure. We come alongside dads that are at all stages. We have dads that haven't even had their kid yet. They can be part of our program, and they haven't even had a kid. Great time to get in there, right? Because you've got some seasoned dads around you that are speaking into how do you do this well. So that's the first part, is parenting. The second part is co-parenting. Now, when I say co-parenting, that might be with your wife, but for over 60% of our dads, that's not with your wife. That's 70. With mom.
Yeah. 70.
Wow. Yeah. So that is mom. And so that relationship is vital to the success of kids. All the research is really clear, that ability to put that together. So we talk about co-parenting. We have great teachers that have gone through that. They've gone through divorce, they've been remarried, and they can speak into what co-parenting looks like, provide guidance, provide education, provide equipping, and again, provide support, a community. But what we also know is, even though you might have been in a situation where you got divorced or you're not connected with mom anymore, you're going to be in another relationship. Sure. That's how we're made, right? And so we also talk about relationship, romantic relationship, the next one you're going into or the one you're in. So we can have people we come alongside people and help to improve relationship. Lonnie talks about marriage seminars, something he and his wife do. Those are what we're doing there. We're helping out in that area. And then again, the other piece for us is, how do we make dads economically stable? Yeah. So this is kind of a staggering statistic, and it's a couple-year-old data. It may have changed. 67% of the homes in Las Vegas, 67% of those homes had a single parent with a single income and were low-income homes. Wow. Yeah. Where the kids were in the homes. Wow. A huge number, right? Well, dads need help getting economically stable. So we really look at two parts there. One is, if you're employed, we're going to help you get a better job if that's what you want to do. We're connected with service partners that'll get you different training. Maybe you want to be a truck driver. Maybe you want to go on and improve your education. Maybe you need a GED. We're set up to help you with all those things. So if you're employed, want a better job, we'll help you there. If you don't have a job, we go out and find jobs. We help you get a job, coach you how to get resumes, things like that. But we also teach how to manage your finances. It's great. My experience is you don't grow up with that as an education either, unless you had that in your home, which a lot of our folks haven't. I know I didn't grow up necessarily with that, but we teach people how to make money and keep the money you're making. Man. And that's really the totality of our program.
That's awesome. So you have like a holistic approach to to manhood.
Yeah.
Yes,
I love it. You know,
that's actually
hearing your story, it makes me have compassion towards my own dad. You know, my dad, growing up here in Las Vegas, I never have known my dad up until recently to work any less than 2 jobs, just grinding it out. My mom worked a job too. You know, they worked opposite shifts, and that was my dad. So hearing you talk about that, it helps me appreciate him a whole lot more. And even whenever I'm a dad now too, you know, and I have a 9-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. I'm like you. Whenever I brought him home from the hospital, my wife had the kids, and they just said, "All right, there you go, Mr. Pino." And I'm like, "Whoa, wait, what?" Yeah. Like you're not even checking if I have a car seat. You don't know if I'm an axe murderer. You know what I mean? Like, what in the world? There's no manual for this thing. And so, I had the foundation of having a strong community around me. Family members, church members who were able to come alongside me whenever I said, help, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that you guys are creating a space for men to come, not, obviously fathers and it really sounds like men in general and primarily fathers. So I think this is needed, especially for our city, because we have, you gave the statistics. We have a huge void. What was that statistic? So it's almost 70% of homes. Mm-hmm. What was that? Give me that statistic again.
It's like 67%.
Wow. Have a single parent and they live below low income. Yeah. Wow. And you guys are here to help change that.
Absolutely.
Wow. So, say I want to sign up and be a part of your program. So what does that look like? Is it is it just one class? Is it a workshop? Tell me what that looks like and the people who are watching. What does that look like?
Well, the process starts where they come visit us at our website, which is GoDad Inc. Just like it sounds, GoDadInc.com. Mm-hmm. GoDad Inc. And they check it, they say register. They click the button and it takes them. They do a registration. It spits it out on our side. We get the name. We get their information. We contact them. We set up a time when they can come in. And their surveys and other things involved because our grant is it's not just to help, but they're also conducting research while we're doing the grant. Mm. And the research, the information they collect will enable them to do the research that they're doing, to find out how successful what we're doing is and if it's helpful. Sure. So we get them in, we matriculate through the surveys and things, and then the first day of class, we start in March on the 3rd and the 5th. We bring them in, we start that day, they start the 8-week process, and they get taught every once a week for 3 hours during that session. Wow. So it's an 8-week course. Correct. 3 hours, one time a week. Yep. Wow. And so they become a part, and you guys just basically are turn on the fire hydrant, basically, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that term resonates with us. So you got
that is exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it is but for sure, classes are really kind of the main, the foundation of our program is those classes, and we have a good time. Hey, show up to first class, we start giving you money. I mean, that's part of our program. We're actually allowed to get some incentive. I think we're the only program out there where it's like, come to us and we'll help you. But it's really in line with what we're doing to create economic stability. We just want to help dads get to our program. Yeah. Maybe we're helping out with gas money. Some dads need food. So the first part is we want them to come join us in the classes. But then we get a personal coach who comes alongside them and says, what do you need specifically? What we find is there's a lot of barriers to being a father. There's a lot of barriers to just being successful as a human being. Yeah. And so we come along and try to figure those out. If it's food, we help you how to get food. If it's housing, we talk about that. If you need a GED education, we talk about that. The personal coach is drilling down. And the reason why we call them coaches looking at somebody and saying, what are your goals? You know what's going to make success for you. How can I help you with that? So that goes on for the whole time and after the 8 weeks. We graduated 8 weeks. That's fun. We do a big barbecue. Dads can invite their kids in. They can invite the mom in. They can invite their romantic, whoever they want to invite. They can invite them in. And we do a big Polynesian barbecue. It's so much fun. Yeah. But after that, too, we stay with them. They're part of our community. Now you're part of Dad Inc. So in addition, we can give ongoing coaching. We have dads come back and actually speak at our classes. There's a lot of different things. And you can always come back. We're always there.
Yeah.
We're always available. We're establishing this community of fathers within the Las Vegas area.
Yeah, and I think what's super cool too, it's not just for church people. No. So they don't have to go to ICLV. They don't have to go to my church. They don't have to go to any church. It's any father in the valley is available to come and do that. So why tell us why you want to open up to all the fathers in the valley, you know?
Well, I can speak for my part. Why? I mean, this really is what drove me to the program. While I knew who my father was, our relationship wasn't ideal. As a matter of fact, I love my dad now with all my heart, my biological dad, but he wasn't a full, complete, integrated part of my life. But my stepfather, at least that's what people would call him, but he was more like a father because I learned my work ethic from him. He was that model for me. And it just was really something that's pulls at my heartstrings, you know, to be able to have a dad, someone, not just a father, but a dad. And so I said, I wanted to be a part of helping people to do that. And so I think that if every person we can touch, they don't have to go through what I went through. Their children, that is.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, you know, we get dads from everywhere. They come in from all different, and we're seeking dads in all different locations. We do get dads from church, from not only the church that we're a part of now, but other churches. They hear about us, and we love that, right? Because our program comes alongside. A lot of churches don't have the time or may not have the resources to do good men's ministry, right? And to really help dads, like a lot, that just takes time, it takes money, it takes energy. And so we get dads that come to us from different churches, including the Spanish-speaking church in our community. Yeah. So in our community, in Clark County, and these numbers are a couple of years old, 37% of the homes in Clark County have a Spanish speaker in there. We have a robust outreach to the Spanish speaking community. We have Spanish speakers on staff. So, but we go to find where they're at. So in most churches, in most church situations, you're going to start getting that men's education when you're part of the church.
Sure.
What we want to do is go out and invite folks that haven't had an opportunity to have that. You just aren't going to find that. There's no fatherhood programs out there. So we go into the streets to find them. We partner with different agencies. If I talk about one of our great partnerships, it's with Crossroads of Southern Nevada.
Yeah.
It's a drug and alcohol rehab that's doing fantastic work here in Las Vegas. They asked us if we would come into their program. They have I think it's a 150-bed sober living facility, and they asked if we would come over and offer the program in their facility.
Awesome.
It's been a great partnership. Why? Dads in recovery, they definitely need what we have. And so we find where we're needed, and we go to there in the Spanish-speaking community, in the recovery community, in church community, and just by word of mouth. A lot of dads come to us by word of mouth. You know, mom, grandma, somebody's dad, you know, somebody's grandmas are great, man. They will absolutely get the word out, right? And so grandma's like, hey, I'm sending my grandson your way. You let me know if he hasn't come there yet. So they want what we have.
Thank you, Granny.
So,
Thank you, Granny.
Grandmas are great.
Exactly.
So those are some of the places that we go to.
I think this is really beneficial, you know, being a father, being a man in society. There is a lot of weight, you know, and then we're not, you know, we're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be, but I mean, there's a lot of weight to raising a family, to balancing a checkbook, to bringing in an income and feeding the people who you're responsible for. And I think the fact that there is a place now, a space now, where the fathers and the men of our community can come and get equipped and resourced and really surrounded themselves with a community of people who are going to not only cheer them on, but encourage them as well. I think that's extremely awesome. And I think it's important for what we have going on here in Las Vegas. So I know you mentioned it early. So if someone wants to get in contact with you, tell us that information again. How would they do that?
Best way to do it is, and everybody's online, right? Just go to GoDadInc.com. 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 You can also find us. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You can reach us that way. You can contact our office. That number is available on our website too, and we'll get right back to you. And as soon as we make that connection, if somebody has questions, we can talk them through that. We're starting new classes every 8 weeks. We're just getting ready to finish a class, and so our new classes are going to start in March. So it's a great time to join us and get on board with what we're doing. We'd love, we're there for dads. We're available. We'd love to have them come alongside.
Yeah, awesome. Listen, if you're a dad in the Clark County area, you need to sign up for this. If any of this that we talked about resonated with you on the inside, go to godadinc.org. .com. And just be a part of this. There's resources here for you in the Las Vegas Valley to help you really just walk your life out. So guys, thank you so much for being on the show this week. Thanks guys. Really, really grateful.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, appreciate you. Listen, if you're watching this, you're probably watching on King 17, maybe Facebook, YouTube. Maybe you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify. Would you do me a favor? However you're watching this, would you share this with somebody? If you're on iTunes or Spotify, would you go ahead and subscribe to the channel? If you're watching this on Facebook, would you drop a comment down below and let us know what you thought of the show? Right here at Las Vegas United, like I said, we are partnering with God to create an eternal testimony of his goodness, mercy, and power in our very own backyard, Las Vegas, Nevada. I love this city. I'm sure you guys do too.
I do.
Sun City. Come on now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So listen, thank you once again for watching Las Vegas United, and we will see you next week right here on Las Vegas United. God bless you.
Hey Las Vegas, thanks for tuning in this week. Next week, Aaron Hansel has a seat at the table where he discusses some of his early experiences as a pastor in Las Vegas, feeling the weight of sex trafficking in a city where pastors had not yet come together to combat this issue. Now, God has transformed the city, and men across the entire nation are banding together to stop the demand for the sex trade, pornography, and other explicits so that women and children are no longer the victims of a hypersexualized culture. This show premieres on Facebook and YouTube on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also listen to our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts Mondays at 8 p.m. If you live in Vegas, you can watch our show on over-the-air television on Keen, Channel 17 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. We hope you tune in. Our show is hosted by Pastor Aaron Pino of Overflow Church. To learn more about him and his ministry, please visit overflowchurch.co. The guests this week are Lonnie and Tim of Dad Incorporated. For resources and information, visit godadinc.com. Our show is directed by Javier Moreno. Production assisting by Julie Moreno. Edited by Javier and Jalen Moreno. Las Vegas United is produced by CTN Vegas, the Las Vegas location for the Christian Television Network. For more information about CTN Vegas and our show, please visit ctnvegas.com.